Good morning. Welcome to the Harvest Table. Today we're going to be talking about ripples in life. And I have a poem I want to read to you, and many of you may have heard it before. It is by James Foley. And it says, "Drop a pebble in the water, just a splash, and it is gone. But there's half a hundred ripples circling on and on and on, spreading, spreading from the center, flowing on out to the sea, and there is no way of telling where the end is going to be." And there's several other stanzas, but I'm going to go down to the bottom. Drop a word of cheer and kindness, just a flash and it's gone, but there's half a hundred ripples circling on and on and on, bearing hope and joy and comfort on each splashing, dashing wave, till you wouldn't believe the volume of the one kind word you gave. Drop a word of cheer and kindness, in a minute you'll forget, but there's gladness still a swelling, and there's joy a circling yet. And you've rolled a wave of comfort, whose sweet music can be heard over miles and miles of water, just by dropping one kind word. And I just love that poem. And I chose this thought because Sunday was my birthday, and I thought about life and, how your life affects someone else. And I pray my life does affect someone else for good, for kind reasons, for godly reasons. And the scripture tells us in Proverbs 15:23, it says, "And a word spoken in due season, how good it is." And the Bible talks a lot about seasons, and seasons is defined at the appropriate time. And that expression is also used in Galatians 6:9. It says, "In due season we shall reap if we faint not." And 1 Peter 5:6-7 says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time." So I want to bring out the point today that God has times and seasons in each of our lives. And the words we speak can bring an effect that can be a ripple effect through many seasons. And I thought about people that has affected my life, and one person really stood out to me. All through my life, when I was in school, I had wonderful teachers. And in the first and second and third grade, I had teachers that honestly were not at the top of my favorites list, although they were good teachers. They just weren't fantastic, because in the first grade I moved in the middle of first grade, and in the first part of first grade I had a teacher that was fabulous. I mean, absolutely wonderful. But then I left in the middle of that year and moved to a school where the teacher seemed mean to me, and maybe she wasn't. Maybe I needed that to shape me into who I am. But it wasn't one of my favorite teachers. And second grade was my cousin, and every time I did something that wasn't perfect, seems like she made a point to tell my mom. Well, I didn't care for that too much either. But in third grade, no. Fourth grade, I had a teacher named Mrs. Stafford. And Mrs. Stafford was absolutely a beautiful, amazing, kind, compassionate person. She taught me more about myself than many other teachers did put together. And one thing that happened in her class was probably the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in school. One day I wasn't feeling well. We were in the middle of reading time, and I wasn't feeling well, and I felt like I had to hurry up and go to the bathroom. And of course, you had to ask permission. So I just yelled out, "Mom, may I have permission to go to the bathroom?" And I'll never forget the laughter that came after I said that, and I realized, oh my, I just called her mom. But that's how beautiful she was, how wonderful she was to me, that it was just like I was asking my mom for permission for something. And she just so gracefully handled that situation. And I ended up going to the office and going home for the day because I really was sick. But she just handled that so perfectly, so kindly. And she would always affirm my reading skills and compliment me and encourage me to do more. And I was advanced in reading more so than anybody else in the class. And so she would make it her job to give me challenges in reading to keep me going at a higher level. And I just always appreciated her for being my teacher, and she always stood out to me. And so you can meditate on your life and see what kind of persons or people stands out to you, the words they say to you, the compassion they have, maybe the instructions they have. For whatever reason, they stand out to you, don't they? And we give thanks for those people. So in my life today, I give thanks for teachers like her. I give thanks to people who's given me words of inspiration, words of correction, most of all, words of life. And I do thank God that in this time that we have on this earth, God has seasons of refreshing for us. He has seasons where we have to learn tough lessons. He has seasons where there's storms in our season. But through every season, God is faithful. And I just thank Him for that today and pray you realize in your life how faithful God is. God bless you. I'll see you next time.